Well, February is typically a peak season for Florida citrus, but this year the deal is all over the map. Southeast Produce Weekly's Chip Carter checks in as growers hope for a good crop.
It's been a tough decade for Florida citrus. Things were looking a little better last year, and then we had storm damage, blew away about half the crop. Things are looking a little better this year. I'm with Dean Mixon from Mixon Family Farms. You guys have been in this citrus game for a little while, Dean.
Yeah, my grandfather started here in 1917 and finally was able to buy some grove, and that's when our farm started, and we added to it, and we had about 350 acres at our peak. We're down to about 50 acres now. So
now, you've diversified into a lot of different areas, but you also grown a lot of different varieties of citrus. What are you growing here?
Right here around us is the Mineola Tangelo, Honeybell Tangelo, as people know, and it's one of our better crops this year. We also grow quite a bit of lemons. It's probably our top crop that we grow now.
So in terms of how it's all come off this year, I know there's no longer any such thing as a normal year in Florida citrus, but scheduling of the fruit as it comes on, as it bears, harvest, those kind of things, is it a normal schedule, abnormal? How's this year been?
It's been very sporadic. Different varieties, like the navels came in early, didn't color up very good, quality was not that great. Then like with these Mineolas here, we're in the middle of February almost, and usually they're gone by now, and they're just now getting into their prime. We're going to start Valencias next week, which usually, quote, normal season, probably March, middle of March was the earliest you'd ever heard of starting Valencias, but that's the way it's been the last few years.
And that's the way it's kind of going to be for a while as we look for all the different solutions to greening and for somebody to find a solution to the diseases that impact this crop. You have to experiment, you have to diversify.
Exactly, and we tried different varieties, different root stocks, and trying to come up with something, but between the greening and the canker and tristasia, which took out most of what we had, that 350 acres. We don't have any of those trees remaining. Some of them originally were planted here in 1849. We got the original plats here, and those trees were producing 10 years ago still. So it's tough for us to see that.
Well, production for this year is forecast to be somewhere around 70 million boxes, I believe.
I think
statewide?
I think you're right. I think they might come pretty close to that. There was some early fruit droppage on some of the round oranges. Don't seem to see it quite as bad right now. And we've had more rain this year, so we haven't had the dry conditions that we normally would have this time of year. So I think starting to see some bloom for next year starting to show up. So we're hopeful. We're always hopeful for the next year.
Always, always. At one point, 70 million boxes of Florida citrus would not have sounded like a good thing since production was over 200 million previously. But this year, Florida farmers would be happy to take it. In Bradenton, I'm Chip Carter from SoutheastProduceWeekly.com, reporting for RFD-TV.
As always, thank you very much, Chip. Now, between weather and disease issues, Florida growers have lost 500,000 acres of groves over the last decade.